All right. Hello, and welcome to another episode of Guide Out of Darkness, God Nation. I'm so excited. It's another Sunday, and we are here exploring this series. What does it mean to be spirit led? And it has been in my heart, in my soul, to bring you illuminaries, guides that have helped me along my journey understand the difference of being spirit led versus being religious. Okay. Because sometimes we can just do things out of ritual and because we were taught. But the relationship between you and God, the relationship between you and the grand source and creator of all things is blocked because you're torn between what you were taught and what was demonstrated versus what's real for you. And so we're going to explore that. We jumped into it last week with Sekhmet L. And now we have another one of my gracious, amazing teachers who has, oh my God, been so consistent through the years with delivering this message of just not only letting go and let God. Is when I first met her, I didn't even understand completely, but I was attracted to her and I was drawn to her. And then we started talking about femininity, which I knew nothing about, and sacred sensuality and all this stuff that was beyond me that I didn't see in the Bible, and I didn't, I understand. And I'm a good Christian girl. The more I start digging in and taking bits and pieces and master classes and things with her, the more drawn. And something started to open up, almost like a lotus flower. You're in mud, you're in darkness. And then little bit by little bit, this flower is pushing through the darkness and it's starting to open up. But because of fear and because this is not what I grew up with, I would close back up and go back down. But let me tell you, y'all know I'm out. I'm all the way out now. I'm all the way out. And it feels so yummy. And last week, we kind of talked about name changes. And although we see it in the Bible, you don't see very many Christians change their names, right? But there was a calling. It's been a deep calling for many, many years that I knew that my name was going to change, but I kept playing with it, doing it little bit by little bit. Then I would close back up and get afraid. What will people think? What will people say? But damn it, I don't give a damn no more. I know who I am because the old chick is gone. She dead. She don't live no more. And there's so much I want to talk about that too with today's show. But before I introduce our guest guide, let me give the floor to my call girl, the girl that's just every week we are here together exploring, learning, and on this journey together. Leticia.
Hey, happy Sunday, everyone. So let me apologize. My computer is doing something really quirky. I dropped it yesterday. Yeah. So I'll probably have to buy another one. But anyway, I know, right? But anyway, happy Sunday, everyone. Glad you all are here. My name is Leticia. I am on this spiritual path, this journey of developing a relationship with God and learning who God is for me. I'm here in Houston, and it's hot again. Um, but yes, hotter than hot. And anyway, so I'm looking forward to the show and learning and just continuing on this journey.
So Leticia, is all the sinners in Houston? Is that why it's so hot?
Yes, that's why it's so hot. Yes, they're all here in Houston.
Oh my God. Well, I'm so happy. I get so excited each week when I see you and we're able to do this together. It feels really yummy. Thank you so much for being here again. So now let us bring Miss Lady Shepsa to this platform so that she can share and answer questions that I know a lot of you all may have. And so I get to be the interviewer and ask these questions, and we're going to go deep. Some of the things I know, and it has helped me on my journey, but I want to, like you say, come out of the closet with it. Like let's really talk about it. And she has several books that also explore these topics too. And she'll talk to you about getting her books and things like that at the end of today. But let me introduce or reintroduce Lady Shepsa. And you're in Brooklyn, right?
Yes.
Yes, we got Mexico, Houston, Brooklyn. Yes, I love being online. We can be everywhere at the same time.
That's right. Yes.
Lady Shepsa, welcome. Please, if you could just give us a little background on you. Who is Lady Shepsa?
Oh, how long we got? Who is Lady Shepsa? I am, this is coming to me to say, so I say, I am the daughter of Theolia Jones and Ronald Jones, both of whom are in the ancestral realm now. I am a mother. I'm a goddess. I'm a healer. I'm someone who's curious and a seeker of knowledge. And then I'm also a sacred sexuality coach. And I help women to connect to their sexual energy in a healing way, and help them to find the freedom to express their authentic self, their authentic power, even if they think it's too late, even if they've experienced trauma, and even if they feel all alone, because I know we have all been there. So that's the work I do, and I do this a lot through coaching programs, through my books, like you mentioned, and even through retreats. I'm starting to have more retreats now. I had my first retreat since the pandemic in April, and just creating healing spaces for women to come together and really remember who they are, because I believe it is our nature to be free, to be sensual, to be feminine. And what happens is that so much, happens to us in our life if we learn to armor, we learn to shut it down, we learn to hide it, we learn to think something wrong with it, that is evil, that is a sin. So I help women to rediscover, and to let that stuff go and rediscover their feminine energy, sensuality and sexuality for themselves.
So I like that you said, and I just want to pick this apart a little bit. You said help them remember or rediscover. Is it that we will remember and rediscover, or are we now being birthed into it, like having to accept it and being birthed into it? And the reason I ask that is because it feels like we were created to be what you're saying, but then, like you said, a lot of stuff happens that we have to choose to be reborn into this. So I just wanted to play with that, just see what you
Yeah, I would say it's definitely a rebirth, right? And it's also something that is continuous. It's not a one-time event. I think that a lot of times, I know when I first started this journey, you think like healing is like a one-time thing. Like you just heal and you let everything go. And it's like, oh my God, and my life is like perfect now. But it's like, there is layers. It's like an onion. There's layers and layers to it. And, spirit, the universe, ancestors, God, will always show you yourself in those areas that, still need healing. So I would definitely say it's a rebirth, and in that rebirth, remembering, who you are, who you were born to be, that so many of us have forgotten.
Right. In your journey, what precipitated? First of all, talk to us about the name, Lady Shepsa. What does that mean, and why Lady Shepsa?
Yeah. So the word Sheps in ancient Egyptian or Kemetic means ancestor. Right? It means ancestor, like an elevated ancestor, like a wise elder, but an ancestor. So I used to be, and then we're talking about religion and things like that. So I used to be in a cult. This is after Christianity. I got another cult.
Okay, I can't wait to hear about that. I didn't know that.
But it was fine. but I had a longer name in that. So I took
Mm-hmm.
the part that really resonated with me, which was
Mm-hmm.
Shepsa, and then I changed. I didn't change the meaning. There's multiple meanings, but I chose the meaning that most resonated with me. So
Mm-hmm.
I say Shepsa. It means basically I follow the way of my ancestors, or to follow the ancestors. And
Okay.
the lady part, I think that's the feminine part that I wanted to bring. Like, it was like when you were trying to figure out, like, not like your stage name, but like the name. And I was
Mhm.
I need the lady. Like, you can't just call me Shepsa. I mean, my friends could call me Shepsa, but I wanted the lady Shepsa in, like, that
Yes.
feminine part, like that,
Yes.
like the regal, the royalty of it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, lady Shepsa.
I love that. So your journey, so you were the stories that I remember is the church girl with long dresses or long skirts going being faithful and doing the right thing and and getting married and all the right things. And then something happened. So
Yeah, girl.
tell us about the church girl journey and then what the heck
Oh,
happened, Lady Shepsa?
yeah. How
Like,
did I
how do
become
you
lady
go from long
Shepsa?
skirts to, I mean, some of her Instagram photos, I'd be like, Jesus Christ, help me. I have to flow real fast. I'd be like, damn, this girl got body, and she be letting it all hang out. I'd be like, woo, chefs.
Ooh, yeah.
Let
Oh my goodness.
the
Yeah.
juices flow. You be like, it's flowing, girl. Believe me, it's flowing. No wonder she got all them likes and shit.
Oh my goodness.
So she took off the long skirt dress, and what happened, Shepsa? What
Yeah. So what happened? So my
version?
my my good girl story, right? From I say from good girl to goddess, was I went to church, probably from about like middle school all throughout high school, and I think I like that. The focus of your talk is about separate, distinguishing between like spirit and religion, right? And being spiritual and religious. I think a lot of us, especially as women, as Black women, we are naturally spiritual just because who we are as a people, right? We are looking for God. Like, it's like we gotta have God to deal with the mess we gotta deal with, in this country.
Mhm,
So I was always felt a connection to God, and
mhm.
through most of my early life, that was through Christianity. I was going to church with my uncle, then my father started going to church, and I started going to church with him. And me definitely being the prototypical good girl, I was a good girl of my. I was like the example child, right, the model child. I was always on honor roll. I was reading books. I was doing the right thing. Went to church every Sunday, and the Bible said, "Don't have sex before marriage," or that's what I was taught. And so that's basically what I did. I was a virgin until I was 22, and by the time I was in my early 20s, I had left the church, and this is when I was more in like my Afrocentric phase, and I had the long skirts, the Malcolm X T-shirt, and head wraps, and I became married to like the revolution, but I was still rigid. I was still repressed. It was almost just trading one kind of religion for another,
Let
because
me interrupt you just a second. You said I was still rigid and repressed. For those of us who, that could be big words, define what that felt like.
mm,
Like, how did you know
let
you
me
were
give y'all an example of being rigid, because I was also, and in this early part of my life, I was also vegan. Okay,
vegan?
I was vegan, so it was just like I wouldn't do nothing extra. So, an example of being rigid, then as a vegan, is like my ex-husband, and my husband at the time, he like brought home some cheese that had like casein in it. The casein is like a milk protein. I was just like so appalled and so mad at him because he brought this wasn't even real cheese. Anyway, like his example of that, like rigid, like things have to follow this specificity and there's a guideline. If you don't follow it, then you're doing it wrong. You know what I mean? It's kind of like how
Mhm.
Christianity, you don't, believe X, Y, and Z, you're going to hell. You know what I mean? It's like that type of
Right.
rigid that you have to do this, it has to be done this way. And then the repressed part It's because I always had a lot of sexual energy. From a child, I share this in my books and in my classes. Like I was having orgasms at like 3, 4 years old.
Let the church say amen.
I
I tell people I got the nickname Fast. They was like, Keisha's so fast. She's just fast. Just everything is
Mm.
fast. I was fast.
And I didn't even know what it was. I didn't know what I was doing. It was just like my body, I know if I touched this place, it felt good. And hey, why not? But then church and everything makes you, oh, that's a sin and playing with yourself and it's evil and it's nasty. And da, da, da. So, all that sexual energy was like very oppressed. But in my imagination, I had a lot going on. But I was always afraid to express it out. So that's what I mean, like repressed and rigid. And this is even after I left Christianity. I kept those same, like ways of being, those same structures that are still existing. Because I think, as the good girls, that you want to do things right. You know what I mean? It's like I'm looking to do it right, and I don't want to get it wrong, and I don't want to be a failure, and I don't want to be judged, and I don't want people to be mad at me. I have to be the example. I have to be the good one. So it's like you get into this thing of trying to be perfect, and it's just bullshit. You know what I mean? Like, and you wind up putting so much pressure on yourself, really. And then
that's a t-shirt. Perfect is bullshit.
Yes, that's a good T-shirt. Yes,
That's a good t-shirt. Write that down, Leticia. Perfect is bullshit.
bullshit.
Bullshit. And then we'll quote you, Lady Shepsa.
I appreciate it. Go ahead.
Go ahead. Perfect is bullshit. Love it.
Yeah, and I feel like it's something that's particularly put more on females or young ladies than the young guys and the men. It's like you have to be this, because if you ruin yourself or you ruin your life, then nobody's gonna want you, right? Then it's always like no man is gonna want you. You're like used up or washed up, and you're this and you're that. It's like it becomes so much pressure, and I had to really unlearn that, and leaving my marriage is where I found sacred sexuality, because I was like in the marriage after having my son, I was like, this is not it. I was like, this is not it. I lost who I was as a woman. I didn't know who I was as a young woman. I was miserable. I knew that there were things that I was meant to do or be, and it was just not happening. I wasn't actualizing myself, my gifts, my talents. And I felt that container of the marriage and that particular relationship and the cult that I was in, like none of it was going to be able to help me to actualize, to become the woman who I needed to be, because there was so much repression, right? So in leaving that relationship, I was like, I need to find out who the hell I am as a woman and what I want. And I heard about like tantra and sacred sexuality, and it always, seemed like really enticing. So in leaving,
during the time in your transition when you're realizing that you need to leave this marriage and that you were being suppressed and repressed, who did you look to, or like who helped guide you out of the darkness into your next step? Like who did you go to? Because I know your friends was looking at you like, what the hell's wrong with her? And then the husband's community was probably like, just pray about it or whatever, and it'll get better. You need to give it more time or whatever. So who was there to support you, or what did that support or that guide look like?
Man, I still am. I am a big proponent of getting readings. You get readings.
Readings. Okay.
Yeah, so there were certain spiritual advisors I would go to, and I would get readings. And I will say though, nobody said to go, and I think that's a good thing. What the advice was like, you need to find what you want. Like, and I think that I needed to make a decision, and whatever decision I decided, basically like the universe will back you up, will support you.
No matter which way.
Right. And I think that's good advice, because I needed to make that decision, right? I needed to make it for me, as opposed to being a good girl who's always looking outside of herself for what to do with her validation, right? So if anybody had been like, oh yeah, girl, you need to go, blah, 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 and I just blindly followed that, right? Then again, it becomes about this other person, and I'm following what they told me, as opposed to me actually sitting with myself and meditating and being like, what is it I honestly want, right? What do
Does
I?
that
Yeah.
mean, is that what it means when they say you have to choose you?
Yes,
Is
yes,
that what that means? That seemed like a good part where that's where you choose you. Don't
yeah.
worry about what's outside.
Hmm.
Sitting with yourself, meditating, and go ahead. I just want to bring out the nuggets so we because you
Yes.
so many nuggets. I don't want anybody to miss anything.
Yeah, having to choose me. And I think that's exactly what needed to happen. Because I was looking for somebody else to tell me. Because once again, it was like, I don't want to get it wrong, right? Like, I don't want to get it wrong. Like, I already, I chose this. And now I'm, leaving this marriage and then getting divorced. Like, what if I'm wrong? And what if I ruin my life? And, all these things that we think and we
Mhm.
feel. But it's like, no, I need to actually really sit and to honestly, like you said, choose me. And I'm so happy that I did. It
Wow.
was
Wow.
definitely the right
You were
decision.
happy that you chose you.
Yeah.
What's the difference? What is your life like now that you chose you? And by the way, viewers, listeners, the guide out of darkness, right, is really that journey of making the best choice for you to get you to the illumination that I came up with last week was be your best version of God. Because people like to Bible thump and all of that kind of stuff. But when we looking at you, if I never pick up a Bible, if I never pick up any holy words or whatever, all I have is the person in front of me. Are you representing your best version of God? And choosing you gets you closer to representing what God has us here to do. Be a light for each other in the lane that we're supposed to thrive in. But if you're busy, if you're so busy going by what everybody else is telling you, what the status quo is, and trying to be the pleaser that Lady Shepsa is talking about, you miss it. And a lot of things we talk about in Christianity, we don't really have a clue to what we're talking about. Because what is the profit of a man to gain the whole world and lose his soul? That's what it's talking about. You're busy profiting and trying to please, but you're lost. You're nowhere close to the divine. You don't know what's going on, right? So I love what she's saying. That whole thing, learning to choose you. You got to choose you every time. And it's not selfish, it's divine to choose you. Write that
Absolutely.
down. Not selfish, it's divine. Choose you.
Yes.
Write that down too.
Iana Van Zant said it's
Like this.
self-full. It's self-full.
Yes, yes. So, Lady Shepsa, what is your life like now? I know it's been journeys because I've been on the journey either with you in classes years ago, um, to even now, doing my thing or whatever, but still peeping over to see what's Lady Shepsa doing. I know it's different stages. You're just constantly evolving, but if you could kind of summarize what it's like now on the other side of choosing
Mm.
you, no longer repressed, no longer rigid, but choosing you. And one
Mm.
thing I can truly say that you consistent on, child, is that healthy hair and that glowing skin. Woo! Yeah,
Yes.
always ready to go. I ain't never seen you looking ashy in a mess.
Girl,
Ashy
no.
folks, they
I
all
take a
burn.
minimum 2 hour bath a week. Okay.
Okay, you see what I'm saying? Okay, you gotta tell us about the 2 hour baths, but go ahead, girl. Okay.
Oh, so my life now, I think the most powerful thing is allowing myself to actually be in touch with my desires and my
Mm.
feelings. Because I
Mm.
think the good girl, and of course, I still gotta fight the good girl. I still gotta, like, you know what I
Mhm.
mean?
Mhm.
Put her in her place,
Mhm.
that
Mhm.
we don't have to get it perfect, or we don't even gotta be happy all the time. You know what I mean? Because
Right,
I think
right.
even sometimes the spirituality is the thing that we're supposed to just only have positive emotions. But me connecting to my inner goddess is like I accept all of me.
Mhm.
And all of me
Mm.
is holy.
Okay, you just healed me right there. Let's stop. We feel like when we're being spiritual and we're being guided out that we're not supposed to, it's like always supposed to be managed emotion, positive, powerful. And I am there, like there. But then when I notice certain things keep triggering me and I keep reacting the same way, I beat myself to a pulp.
Mm.
So talk to me. Me. I don't care about who else watching. This is me. Talk to me about what you just said about being
Mm.
able to accept all your emotions. What does that look like to
Mm.
accept all your emotions?
Mm. Wow. It means that. So I'll tell you how I even came to this. So, one of those many readings that I was getting when I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do, she was doing like a tarot reading and she was pulling all these cup cards, and cups are representing emotion. And she
Okay.
was like, you have, like, it's a lot of like emotions. She was like, you have to actually feel your emotions. Like, if something hurts, you have to feel it to know that it hurts, right?
But
And
you live in Brooklyn, New York. Y'all don't feel nothing.
I know, right?
Even when you say hello, it's hello. It's like, dang, what the hell?
And
So
it's hilarious.
maybe some
It's
good
such a,
sex in New
everybody
York.
wants to be unbothered. Like, I'm unbothered.
Right, right. So talk to
You
me.
got
I
this
mean, because
hard
listen,
armor.
truly, you got to look at your environment. You got to look at what you've been through. You got to look at like where you're going and what's going on. How do you manage New York?
Yeah.
Y'all taught to be hard and don't. I remember. I'm just gonna say this. We're gonna jump in. But I remember when I was going to stay in New York for a little while, like college break. All my like a lot of my friends, line sisters, everybody was from New York. And I remember my girlfriend from Brooklyn, Queen, and she was like, "Now look, Keisha, don't be up there. I know you like to whine when you talk. Don't be like, hi, can you tell me how to get to the L train or whatever?" She was like, "Oh, where the L train?" That's how I have to talk. I was so like, damn, I don't know how to do that. I'm like, hi to everybody. Don't be over there whining and singing when you in New York. So,
Yeah,
Lady Shepsa, you
you
have
gotta,
to
learn how
manage
to.
all. You
Yes.
have to
And
manage all of that.
sometimes, you know what? Like, sometimes the armor gotta be there, right? But you just gotta learn, you gotta know how to take it down. You gotta know how to take it down. So
Okay.
for me, luckily I get to spend a lot of time by myself.
So
Especially
luckily.
now, I think my child, we talk about the kids getting older, so my son, he be in the, not in the street like that, but he be hanging out with his friends, he be doing his thing. And I get to be much more independent than I was when he was younger. So it's like I get to spend a lot of time. So I just really have learned to really allow myself to feel my feelings, because in the spiritual organization that I was with, and my husband, after I left Christianity, and it's so interesting because a lot of times we may leave like a religious structure or whatever, but a lot of times we as people, we just recreate the same dynamics in
Mhm.
new circumstances. So in this spiritual organization, it was a lot of emotional repression, because the idea was that we weren't supposed to identify with your emotions, which is like on one level, it's like we can, okay, yes, kind of observe. But within that, there was a lot of repression. There's a lot of people saying that they were fine, or they're at peace, and they really weren't, right? So I've learned since then emotional intelligence, that our emotions
Mhm.
are actually messengers. So if
Messenger. Mhm.
you just deny this emotion, be like, no, I'm a divine being. All I feel is peace, and my nature is peace, and all these things like that. But you got your anger, your sadness, your jealousy, all of that underneath the surface is still there and it's raging, okay? And it will come out in ways that you're not gonna like, because you're not listening to these emotions. Like, what is this? What is
Mm.
your anger teaching you, right? What is that anger
Mm.
really about? Have you let a boundary be crossed, right? What
Mhm.
what is it? Your sadness. What are you desiring right now, right? Your grief.
Mm.
What is it that you need to like let go of? Or maybe you just need to allow yourself to feel this grief and understand that that's a part of the other side of love. Like really understanding and allow myself to feel my emotions. And what I actually learned is that allowing myself to feel and to sit with them, they move through me much faster. Right?
Wow.
I can actually get the peace faster by allowing myself to feel my emotions, to purge it, to cry, or do whatever, as opposed to trying to stuff it down and being like, well, I'm divine being, I'm spiritual. I don't get angry.
I don't want the law of attraction to stop working or do the adverse thing. I don't want it to go the other way and have me in a spiral of craziness. I want all my positive vibes to keep coming. So you get suppressed, and I'm going to think a happy thought.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't have to. You need to sit with those emotions and figure out what the message is. I like that. Your emotions are messengers.
Yeah.
What is the message? And until you know that, you can't master yourself.
Yeah.
You can't master the situation. And you don't feel good. You just don't feel good. You cause illness and all of that stuff to arise because suppressed emotion is the prescription for or catalyst for a damn illness to come real fast.
Exactly.
Fast in a hurry.
Exactly.
Lady Shepsa, this is so good. Leticia, see, Leticia will be over there just learning, but she be having a lot to say. Leticia, what you over there thinking? What you want to say to Lady Shepsa? What question you had?
I'm taking it all in because I can really identify. I can identify with that good girl character that you're supposed to play all the time. And I was telling Asira that that's what started me on my journey because I was, raised in the church and taught you be this good girl. And if you're the good girl, you get this.
She's a PK kid. She's a
I'm a
PK kid.
Oh, okay.
Yes. And so playing that role, all the things that I thought I was supposed to get, I didn't. And so then it was like, okay, wait a minute. Something is a little off here. Something is not working. So I can identify with that. But then what really just stood out is when you said allow yourself to feel your feelings. I'm learning to do that because so many times, especially as women, we're taught you keep going, you don't stop. Whatever you're feeling,
Strong black woman.
yeah,
Strong black woman.
we're taught to be the strong.
The hell with her.
She dead.
Yeah, she got the
She's
dope.
dead. And there's this song that we like to sing. I'm every woman. I'm not. Don't call me.
Bless Shaka and Whitney. Bless
Love
it.
Shaka and bless Whitney, but I'm not every woman. I'm not trying to be every woman. I can point you to the other woman that can help you do it, but I'm not me. She dead too. So, but I'm learning that. Like I'm learning to feel my feelings. Like last week, my nephew texted me something and he was asking for something, and I said no. And then I was about to explain to him why, and then I was like, I don't owe him no explanation. Hell, it's just no. And I just left it at that, and I was so at peace after I got
No is a full sentence.
No. But in the past, I would have called him and been like, well, the reason I said no is because, and don't be mad at me. And, just would have went through this whole, scene from a movie with him. But I just had to really, sit down like, Leticia, no is no, and he's going to be all right. And if not, I mean, he can get it from somebody else, his mom or his daddy, because it's not your child. And, but I'm just really learning that to feel my feelings and be okay with what I'm feeling. And I'm also learning that not to label something as that's a bad feeling or that's a good feeling. It is what it is. It's a feeling. It's anger. It's disappointment. It's whatever it is what it is. And it's okay to feel it.
Oh,
yeah.
Good.
And you know what's this came to me. So one of my teachers taught me, she said to be multi-emotional, but to be multi-orgasmic, you got to be multi-emotional. Yeah. It's all a part of it.
I got a question. Now that you didn't kind of segue there, I have a question. Something happened to me having sex about, I guess it was like a week ago. It's so much passion that it's scary. But it was like, okay, a couple things. I could feel this energy exchange. It was different than like the pleasure that you feel in sex. It was almost like a circulating of energy, and almost like it was healing me or something. And then, like, when I put my hand on his heart, it was just like, I don't know what, but anyway, that, and then, like, that was a couple of sessions ago. Look, we gonna call them sessions.
Sessions.
A couple therapy sessions. You know, Marvin Gaye got it right. We laughed at that song and we were singing that song. But Lady Shepsa, going back onto our classes that we talked about. See, I think I like to repeat your classes because who I am at that level, sometimes it's new information. You got to process it. Then when you evolve to this new person, then you go back and then it means something else, or it's more rich and you start really, really getting it. Now I'm like, whoa, that's what Shepsa was talking about. And that was a class 2 years ago. But now I'm like, fuck, yes. Oh my God. So anyway, and so I was feeling that. I had never felt that before. And then it was just like, he was like, usually I don't let people go in real deep because it'll hurt me. But he did. He went in real deep and it hurt. But then the hurt stopped. And it was just like, I relaxed and it stopped. And then the next thing you know, I'm fucking crying. What the hell?
Wow.
What the hell? And then he looked in my eyes, like he looked in my eyes and was just like, I love you. Like I felt like a little kid afterwards. Shepsa, what in the hell is all
of girl, you got blessed.
Yes.
You got blessed.
The altar. I wasn't even at the altar. I was at
your magician, your healer, your shaman. Yes. Ooh. That is beautiful. Yeah, what they call that, the microcosmic orbit, they call that orbit that you're feeling. So it has a name, right? That it, I mean, it's running inside of your body, but then when you connect to somebody, where's my camera at? When you connect to somebody else, then it becomes one orbit, right? Because we have that energy channel that comes up our spine, actually, like how Kundalini does. So you were feeling that, and then the heart, you touched his heart. And for men, the heart center is where they receive energy.
Oh, I didn't even know what I was doing. I was just led to do that.
Yeah, that's how they receive energy. We give through our heart. That's why we have these breasts and things like that. So we give. So you were sending your energy, and you were penetrating him energetically. And then he was penetrating you physically and energetically. So then that helps to create that loop. Yes. And yes, the tears and the pain it was a release. Because if he was going deep, that reflexology point is the point for the heart, up by the cervix. So we store a lot there. Like you said, it does hurt to feel somebody go deep because we tend to be very guarded there, right? Protecting our heart. So you have to really trust and be really warmed up to allow somebody to penetrate you deeply. He was able to do it, and so that release happened. So that's such a gift.
Ooh. Child, Lord have mercy. They don't teach you that in Bible study.
No, you're not gonna get that in Bible study. No.
You don't get that in Bible study. And I knew it was like when I was like kind of praying and meditation, like who should be the guide this week? And then you came up bright as day. I was like, oh, Lady Shepsa. Let's bring in Lady Shepsa because this woman opened me up to so many things. And I want to go back to Leticia saying that she took a master class. Leticia, I don't know if you felt the same way, but when you took her masterclass, did you almost feel like you were sneaking or you shouldn't have been, or like you was peeking into something that was like, oh, this is taboo. Let me not get too far deep into this. Just be honest. What did you feel?
I did. It was almost like I want to say maybe like some shame there. Because it was talking about sex and it was talking about I can't remember the exact name of it. It's been a while, but it was talking about sex. So I felt a little shame, and I know we did like a visualization practice, and
yeah, she good with that.
Really good. And I felt really good during that. But then afterward, it was like some guilt there because it was pleasurable. And so then I had to tell myself, like, it's okay to feel pleasure. Like, it's okay. So yeah, I did. Like I felt some shame and some guilt because
Lady
of the
Shepsa.
brainwashing.
So, Lady Shepsa, I wanted to bring that point because I was there too. And I know when she said I took the master class, I said she didn't go further. And it's a lot of the reasons why I was hitting and missing too, because it's this overwhelmed, because it is a clash kind of what you're taught. And then you feel like all this overindulgence got to be sin. Like, what the hell? All this pleasure in your desire, letting your desires come first. Like, they're teaching gluttony. Like, how do you find the balance? Because that's the thing, striking the balance. How do you find the balance? And yes, allowing yourself not to be repressed, allowing yourself not to be rigid, but at the same time, overly doing every damn thing. It's still. So how do we strike that balance? And it's a twofold question. The second part to that question, and I'll say it if I can remember it. The second part is people watching. It may be their first introduction. And that's what this series is about, God Out of Darkness. There's a lot of people who are in between leaving the church, leaving Christianity, or not necessarily, you don't have to leave, because I always say it's our foundation, is who we are, like you take what you can take with you. But what's next? What does it look like to be next? And not allowing them to feel shamed or intimidated or scared because they want to venture in. They know there's something more, but they don't know what that is. But then when you're faced with, when you meet a Lady Shepsa, she's so free, and look at her hair, so big and wild, and she's glowing, and she just looks like, she could just, like what did Maya Angelou say? Oil wells is between her thighs. Like, it's so amazing, but then it's intimidating too. Like, you're like, is this right? That can't, it just feels overwhelming. This can't be right. It's got to be, Stephen is here. It can't be right, or it can't be like, it's sin. It gotta be sin. So how can you walk somebody through the transition of leaving rigid and repressed to it's okay?
Yeah. And I like what you said about not like going overboard, right? Or overindulging and things like that. And I think for me, because I think when a lot of women, and that's why even like I'm like I had to really be specific about what I do, because sometimes when I say sacred sexuality teacher, people automatically think it's about getting a man, right? Like it becomes this external thing. And I have to tell people, like, I teach women to connect to their sexual energy for them first. And that is a big difference. Then yes, once you do that, then you can have experiences like, what's the new name? Is Nasira? Nasira Satya. Yes, you can have experiences like Nasira, okay? But you got to connect in here first. And I think people think it's about like, having these Kama Sutra like sex positions and getting a bunch of men and having a bunch and it's like, it's not anything about that. It's really about, number one, like you experience, like understanding that we are worthy of experiencing pleasure and to actually prioritize it. Because if anything, we deny it. Especially if you have a religious, a Christian background. And that pleasure can come from so many things other than sex, and one of my coaching programs called RET, which I'm actually going to restart soon, 30-day deep dive into feminine bliss and sensual pleasure. It's about, we spend days just opening our senses, right? So if I'm going to smell a flower or a cookie or whatever, like I want to like really open to smell it, right? If I'm going to touch myself or allow somebody to touch me, I want to really allow myself to feel it, because it doesn't actually take that much. We desensitize ourselves because we live in a world that is about excess. Well, that's first about repression, right? And when things are repressed, then they tend to come out in distorted ways. So this is why so many men and people are addicted to porn and things like that. Because we repress so much, then it comes out in a way that's a bit distorted. Because, like we mentioned, like that shame and guilt, right? Whereas if it was more integrated, it would come out in ways that were excess or distorted.
Integrated.
You know what I mean? So it doesn't take a whole. If you become open, it don't take a lot for me to orgasm. I orgasm very quickly. You know what I mean? Like, I don't need all these vibrators and toys and all of these. I don't need it because I'm able to open, right? So we have to understand when things become excess, it's really because we literally have deadened ourselves to not speak. And that's why I mean, like, feeling your feelings, feeling your emotions. And what my teacher said, to be multi-emotional is to be multi-orgasmic. You have to let yourself feel. And we were open to become more sensitive to feeling, then it won't go to excess, because I can feel orgasmic just lying out underneath the sun, right? I can feel orgasmic just dancing, just while I'm in my bath. Like, I open to experiencing pleasure in every aspect of my life, not just the bedroom, right? It's a full life orgasmic experience, not limited to the bedroom. So by the time I get in the bedroom, I'm already open, I'm already flowing, so it becomes about that. So I would say for the women, anybody who struggles with that, allowing yourself to experience pleasure, period, right? Taking it outside of sex and just allowing yourself to feel like, to be sensual involves opening your senses. So allow yourself to feel, to taste, to smell, to touch, right? To actually feel and allow yourself to get these things into your body and make it a whole life experience. That it doesn't have to, that way you don't need a partner, right? But when you do get with a partner, it becomes even better because you are already
feeling sexual experience, or
you're already living it, and that's why I try to live it, embody it.
And that's what makes you different than the other people, or the other people that they've ever been with. They like, it's something about you. They don't know what all that you're so orgasmic in your life that when I come to you, you're just an addition. You're not making me feel this way. I'm already coming, like you were saying, the orbit, the exchange. I'm already here. And so the other people probably don't have that wisdom, that knowledge, and they just come in and get the rocks off or whatever. And so it's a very dry place and a very dry experience. And they get up and like they say, pussy is pussy, not mine.
I know that's right.
Not mine.
Do I need to say?
Stephen, yes, you jump in on the discussion and for like a few minutes. I told Lady Shepsa, I can't even believe the whole damn hour is gone. So y'all know it's got to be a part 2. Damn time.
Yeah.
Stephen, what you got to say?
I apologize. I couldn't find my phone, and when I found it in the car, I wasn't sure if I should sign on, so I said I'll go ahead and sign on. But Lala, we had a conversation similar to this week. Did you say something? Oh, was it yesterday? Okay.
Yeah, I was actually going to mention that, but I was just taking all the information. I'm sorry, I had to plug my computer in. That's why I turned my camera off. But yeah, we had this. So Nasira was telling us about a session that she had, and it was basically like a healing session with her partner. And so Steve and I had this conversation yesterday about sex being healing.
Yeah.
Can sex heal? And so Steve, tell them, what was the movie that you watched? And you had a question.
Good Luck. Oh, I can't remember. It's with Emma Thompson. It's a new movie on Hulu, and she's dealing with her husband passed 2 years ago, and she said she had never had an orgasm, and so she hired this sex worker, and it's the movie's about their relationship over 3 or 4 weeks. and it's similar to what you just said. I don't want to give the movie away, but you watch it,
What's
and
the name
it's
of it?
really.
I'm gonna find this movie.
I know, me
Oh,
too. Like, as soon as we get done, what?
wait a minute. I'm sitting in front of the TV. Let me pull up my Hulu.
Well,
Oh,
while he's doing that, I want to, since we are coming to a close, what's next for you, Lady Shepsa? What's next? I know you just talked about a wet class that's coming up.
Yeah, so I am going to have another free master class on the full moon. So in order to get the invite for that, you need to get on my email list. So if you go to letgoletgoddess.com, you'll see a beautiful pop-up on my page that you can actually get a free goddess bundle, which will give you some affirmations, some meditations, and things that you can do now. Step into your goddess power. And once you're on that list, when I send out the invite for the masterclass, you'll be able to sign up for that.
That's good. Yay. So I like to, he's still looking, but I like to close with a deep question. And will you accept the invitation to come back in a few weeks, Lady Shepsa?
Yes, I love to.
Okay, perfect. Oh, our
oh,
guys
oh,
are just 1 in a million. Go ahead, Stephen.
it's Good Luck, Leo Grand, and
Good
it's on.
luck, Leo Grand.
Yeah, it's on Hulu.
I'm looking it up now.
And I'm typing it.
Oh, I see. Good luck to you, Leo. Oh, this is new.
Yeah, it's a new movie.
Good luck to you, Leo Grand.
Yes.
Got it. Okay. All right. Okay, got it. So the question that we're going to leave with is, how do you know you are spirit led? Like, all of this ain't just in your head. How do you know that you are spirit led?
That's a great question because sometimes you question, you be like, did I make this up? For me, life always gives me confirmation. So one example that came to me actually was when I was pregnant with my son. 16 years ago. And when I was pregnant with him, I heard that he was coming with the drum. And I was like, maybe I made that up. I don't know, right? But when that boy was born, he was literally crawling to the djembe drum. And he loves the drum. Like, it's his favorite thing to do, especially when he was young. Oh my God. Like, and he still loves it. So from that example, I learned not to always question myself, even though I still do, right? But life will always give confirmation, So I feel like that's how I know I'm spirit led, is that spirit will show me through signs, through symbols, through nature, through life, that what was said or shared is true.
That's so yummy. Leticia, how do you know you're spirit led? And just think about peeking over in Lady Shepsa class, but being like, no. And here we are again. Now you're sharing a platform with Lady Shepsa. What does it mean to be spirit led for you?
For me, it's confirmation, like Lady Shepsa said. It's confirmation, and also it feels authentic. It's not rigid. It's not forced. It's a flow. It's peace, and it's also confirmation, and it resonates in my spirit. It speaks directly to me, and it's confirmation.
That's good. That's good. Stephen, you watched the show. Now we have the nerd. They don't even know what topic we're talking about. They just pop on like, kind of like I don't know a better word, but like just support or galley members, or the peanut gallery or whatever. So they never know what the topics are. They know who the guests will be, but they don't know what we're going to talk about. For him to watch the show, and then him and, as he calls her, Leticia, have talked about this, and then we're touching it. We just touched it. We ain't really talk, right?
Yeah.
What does it mean to be spirit led? Is all of that just a circumstance or just happening, serendipity? Like, what does it mean to be spirit led for you, Stephen?
For me, as of right now in my life, right now, it's just peace. It's I'm not in conflict with anything. It's just peace. That's all I have right now. As I move through my day, no matter how bad it is, if I have peace, then that means I'm doing something that I'm supposed to be doing.
Right. That's good.
And let me say this. Phyllis is on the line. I've been trying to get her to come, and she's late today because of me. So
good answer.
Phyllis, welcome. And hopefully you'll come next week and we will get to meet you and you will join on our conversations. But were you able to get any of it today?
The one thing that I got from you beautiful souls is the question about spirit led. And it's definitely a loaded question. I would say real quick that when your thoughts, feelings, and actions are in alignment, it resonates. It gives you dominion. It gives you that strength and that power. So that's how I know I'm spirit led, because I'm intentional about keeping the feelings and thoughts and actions aligned. And soon as something comes about my way that kind of gives me that jostle, if it doesn't resonate my spirit to make me feel, ooh, yeah, that's delicious, that's good right there, then I shun it. I don't even acknowledge it. I don't entertain it.
Thank you.
So I am sad that my sweet, loving friend got me on here late. No judgment, because you guys had a conversation. So yes, I will absolutely love getting on again. We've just been doing the whole July 4th thing. So
that's beautiful. Yeah. Thank you so much. And I want to thank all my viewers. I want to thank God for the vision for this show, to help people understand the difference of being spirit-led versus following a religion, so that you can get your guide out of darkness. And I'm so grateful that our guide today, Lady Shepsa, was able to just orgasm all over us on the show today. It felt so good being in your presence. I miss you so much.
I miss you too, Goddess. I'm so happy that you invited me. I'm so grateful to be here.
Yay. So listen, until we meet or speak, hug yourself for me. And I am Nasira Satia, signing off for this week. Next week, same time, same channel. If you're watching from YouTube, you can watch from YouTube Live. You can watch Facebook Live. Unfortunately, you can't watch from Instagram Live, but you can. There's always in the stories the link to click to take you to YouTube to watch. So please like, subscribe, share, comment. Guide Out of Darkness. I love you, God Nation. Have a great day, or create a great day.
very good.